My bike went probably 100 feet down the road underneath another car, and I was laying there in the field. I woke up, lifted my head up, saw my left femur sticking out of my leg, and I was like, oh, this isn't good.
Without the bad stuff, there's no good stuff. That's where the gratitude comes in.
You don't understand true gratitude until you can find gratitude in the darkest moment of your life.
Why can't life be adventurous? We just choose to settle, and we look at our environments and we say, I guess this is as good as it gets. No, it's not.
Yeah.
It's gotta be better than this, because this sucks. I don't care for excuses, and I made a lot in my life. I've also overcome a lot of the excuses that I made and just said, you know what the hell, I'm gonna go for it, and just get on the track and keep moving forward. The only reason why you should look down on another person is if you're extending the hand to lift them up. The Bible also says that the tongue has the power to kill and destroy. You can murder someone with your words.
Hurt people.
Yep.
And that's a fact.
It's a fact.
One of the biggest lessons that I've learned in this show, and honestly in life, is that healing doesn't live in just one lane. Some people find it through addiction recovery, some through therapy, some through faith, some through hard conversations that they've avoided for years, and some for finally being honest about what they're carrying. I started this show to give people a voice, to share real journeys, real struggles, and real growth. And what it's shown me is how many people are walking through similar battles, even if it looks different on the surface. Through this platform, I've been connected with people across so many lanes: addiction recovery, mental health, veterans and first responders, faith, marriage and relationships, trauma, and everything in between. I want to say this clearly. If you're listening right now and you're struggling, please reach out. You don't need to know exactly what you need. You don't need the right words. You don't have to even know exactly where to start. But through my network, I'll do everything I can to get you connected with the right person in the right lane for where you are. That's what this show is about. Real stories, real connection, and reminding people that there is a way forward. So I started Relentless Pursuit. Man, I started it in 2020. And I launched the brand. But the reason is because the end of 2018, I was actually on my Harley. I had a Harley, big old apes on it. And I was riding through Murfreesboro one day after class. I lived in Hermitage at the time. Mm-hmm. And it was October 2020, and I was just going through a light. Looked to my left, saw a car, and I just remember seeing it, and it was probably 20, 30 feet away. Little silver car, and I just said, that's all I remember was that, and everything shut off. And we hit corner to corner, fishtailed in the side. I went into the windshield and then got launched exactly 90 feet through the air into a field. The car hit the curb across the intersection. My bike went probably 100 feet down the road underneath another car, and I was laying there in the field. I woke up, lifted my head up, saw my left femur sticking out of my leg, and I was like, oh, this isn't good. Mm-hmm. And it was crazy because it wasn't, I can go into all the details, but everything was so vivid, but I didn't feel a thing. It was like a weird dream. And long story short, Life Flight comes to scoop me up. They load me on a stretcher, and I'm like, am I going to die or something like that? They're like, so we're going to try to keep that from happening. And that's when it got real, when I heard those words. And I felt this sensation go through my body. And I remember just closing my eyes as soon as they put me on the helicopter and just thinking about my family and stuff. Yeah. And long story short, I had a pretty significant vision too. And then I woke up in the hospital and found out that I had not only the femur sticking out of my leg, but I had brain bleeding. I had an aortic aneurysm that was bleeding into my right lung, which was collapsed. I broke a few ribs. I lacerated 7 organs, broke my hip in 3 places, the left femur, right knee, tibia, fibula, both ankles, feet, and all my toes. Severed my hamstring, got impaled by something in my groin. Luckily, it was cold out, and I had some tighter jeans on, because it got pretty deep up there, and lost a few pints of blood out of that hole, man. And here I am today,
Here you are, the God of Thunder.
Yeah, right. It's crazy how that plays out,
right?
And it, and I'm so glad. I'll tell people, I'm so glad I went through that. I wouldn't change it. If I could go back, changed my day. That was supposed to happen. It was one of the best things that ever happened to me. But it also comes with a lot of heavy realizations like, shit, yeah, this is, it's not a, things can be stripped from you just like that.
Yeah.
You know, I think about like recalling my mom's getting the call from the life flight, my sister, my dad, and like those situations, like they're rushing to the hospital. They don't know what's going on. And like, that's just the reality of it, man. It's crazy.
You know, as I go through life, 51 years now, you know, I've learned to embrace not only the good things in life, but also the bad experiences I've had, because those situations made me who I am today.
Yeah.
And without the bad stuff, there's no good stuff, because that's where the gratitude comes in. Like, I'm so grateful for the life I have today because of all the stuff I've been through from childhood, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm here, and I get to be a light. I get to be an encouragement to those that need to know that it doesn't end. Every day you have that you're breathing is an opportunity.
Yeah.
And your mindset is the difference maker.
Yep.
You can tell yourself all the lies. You can listen to them. You can believe them. You can rewrite your own story, and you're just going to mess it up.
Yeah.
But if you just kind of just say, I'm just going to keep turning the pages, a bad chapter comes up, but the chapter will end, and you will go to a new chapter, and there's promise in that new chapter. But if your mindset says, this is the worst, I'm never going to recover, then you're just not going to recover.
Yeah. Those storms are, you know, because the truth is that you get to that place where you're thinking that way, but you went through the storm, you're still there. You may have, you know, it didn't uproot you. It didn't, you know, destroy you. You may be a little bit battered up.
Right.
But that's worst case.
Yeah.
You know, but you're always going to end up on the other side of the storm. And like, I got to a point in my life where I started choosing to go into storms, you know, like on purpose.
Storm chaser.
Yeah. And like, I've chosen, like, hell, I shouldn't have faced a lot of the things that I have in my life based off of my childhood, but I did. But I didn't. It's not anybody else's fault, but like, I see where it plays a part in my life now. I chose to do those things to gain that experience and learn from them. And it's gifted me the opportunity to connect with so many different people with so many different walks of life that have been through so many different things, because I can relate to a lot of different situations that I otherwise probably wouldn't have faced.
Yeah.
You know, and so it's like you said that I always say, you don't understand true gratitude until you can find gratitude in the darkest moment of your life, until you can find the gold there. That's gratitude. And, you know, chaos and order. You don't know what good is without evil. You don't know what love is without hate. Like, all those things are necessary. Everything is good or necessary.
Yeah. We find a way to tell ourselves that life is just supposed to be ho-hum, mundane. But why can't life be adventurous?
Yeah.
We just choose to settle, and we look at our environments and we say, I guess this is as good as it gets. You know, when I was a kid, I looked around and there was people who were just like, this is as good as it gets. I'm like, no, it's not.
Yeah.
It's gotta be better than this, because this sucks.
Please.
But I had to continue on throughout my life and just take notes and then observe my surroundings, observe people. Why is this person flourishing? Why is this person just down and out? Like, find out what works. You know, if you know, I had to learn, like, I'm weighing options here. I'm weighing pros and cons. That's not a 6-7 reference like the kids do. But
that's funny.
Raising, you know, weighing the options, like pros and cons. It's like, if it has more pros than the cons, then I'm good.
Yeah.
And I was just talking to my mother-in-law about this the other day, and I said, we tend to look at life like there's the starting five, right? And then there's the 53-man roster. Basketball has a starting five. A football team has a 53-man roster. why does a 5-man starting roster have more power over us than the 53-man roster? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
This little bit has more power over me than all these other blessings that we have that we just take for granted. So just finding ways, analogies to really measure how good and how bad we have it.
Yeah.
And it's really not that bad on a grander scale.
Yeah.
I'm a big picture guy, so I'm like, okay, this sucks. We're going to have to go through it, and we will get through it.
Yeah.
But don't pretend it's not there, because the problems will only compound more and more and more over time. And that's the unaddressed trauma that we go through in life. We just pretend that it's not there and we don't deal with it.
Yep.
Now you're in a more of a uphill battle.
Yep. And then it just gets to a place to where, one, either you're going to have to face it all at once, and which is, can be a lot.
Yeah.
Or you just, unfortunately, some people die in that with just all these things, like never really ripping off any mask.
Right.
They go absent of any of the work and really getting to embrace life for the beauty that's truly there.
Right. And it's simple things like, talking to my son, it's like, you have your friends, you have your buddies. As you guys get older, some of those guys will not be your buddies anymore because people grow and they change. So I don't have any childhood friends.
Yeah.
They're gone. I don't know what they're doing. But I have to say, I'm going to stay on this path. They're going to make their decision. I'm going to try to influence them how I can, but they're going to make their choices and choose a different lifestyle.
And that's okay.
It's okay. And I'm more for quality over quantity anyways.
Even as an adult, I had somebody that used to be a friend of mine that he was like, you lost all these friends and you lost more people than I've ever known. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, I'm glad for it. Like,
yeah.
You're still in this place, man. I'm not there.
Right.
I have changed. You're right. I have. I'm glad I am.
Better.
I'm so glad I'm not who I was when we used to hang out.
Right.
I can tell you that. I'm devoted to my family and I'm devoted to my purpose, and the people in my life now, like, I don't fool anybody. I'm very raw about where I'm at in life in every aspect, yet they still are there.
Yep.
And they're growing too. You know what I'm saying? So I think it's just, you just understand that a lot of people are just chapters, and, I was talking to somebody about this yesterday, like, it's okay to burn. You hear people say, you don't want to burn bridges. And I'm like, no, some bridges are good to burn. Like, it's okay. Like,
absolutely.
Take what you needed from across that bridge, take it with you forward, and then just set that thing ablaze and don't cross it again.
But, with me, every one of those individuals they were vital to my journey, because there were some people that weren't good for me that helped me to see that's what I need to stay away from.
They were a mirror.
Yeah. So I appreciate every person that's come through my path and my journey, because I've taken notes and I remember all these faces. We have every day we see a random bunch of faces in our heads, right? And you kind of sometimes wonder what they're up to. But you also remember that they were a part of this chapter of my life.
Yeah.
They don't need to be in the next one.
They serve their purpose. Yeah.
Yeah. Some of them, they're going to continue on. There's unfortunately some people that were brought into your life to bring trouble. But you've learned and you've grown from that.
Yeah.
Because life, what the scripture says, Jesus said that in this life you will have trouble. And that tells me that it's a given. Expect it. It's coming. If it hasn't come, it's coming.
Yeah.
Brace yourself.
Ain't that the truth, man?
Always wear your seatbelt.
Yes, yes. And last thing on what you were saying too is like, because it's hitting me. I'm connected with it so well. My mentor said this, and you were talking about how you're able to be, look at these people in your past and be good with it, right? And my mentor, I was telling him, like, This is a while back, and I was just like, man, screw this person. Like, they did this. And he was like, Dad, I was just getting pissed. I was like, why are they like this? And he's like, I was like, I'm so ready to be done with them. And he's like, Joe, what do you feel right now? And he said, be grateful for them. They are the mirror. They are showing you something that you need to see and correct in order to move forward and be better. He said, everybody in your life is a mirror. And I was like, damn. And I started looking at these people with gratitude. You know, like, thank you for showing me something in myself that I need to do to be better, right? Like, what is this anger I feel? That's not a vibration I want to be at. You know what I'm saying? I want to be able to not be angry at somebody when I think of them. And so that takes a lot of work, and that's forced me to dive really deep into myself, and I'm very grateful for it. So, you know, just looking at them too with gratitude.
Yep.
Like, thank you for what you showed me.
Yeah, exactly.
You ready to dive into this?
Let's do it.
What is up, everybody? This is Joe Adams, and welcome to the Relentless Pursuit Podcast. What we do on this podcast is bringing guests from all different backgrounds, all different walks of life, to share their journey and everything along the way that led them to where they're at today. Real conversations, raw emotion, and the kind of human connection that can't be faked. We're here to make an impact, and that is what we do. So if that is for you, like, subscribe, please, and all those wonderful things. And if that is not for you, I don't know what your problem is, but it's time to jump on board today. Thank you. But without further ado, I would love to introduce today's guest, Mr. Thomas Harris. Yeah. Anyways, Thomas, welcome.
Thanks for having me, sir.
So
Appreciate
good to have you. Thomas is a former Navy Submariner. I don't know if I'm wording that correctly. And he works with the Nashville Rescue Mission. Okay. And we got connected through a mutual friend, Tiffany Childers. She's great. She's great at connecting people.
What's up, Tiff?
Yeah, what up, Tiffany? Shout out to her. Man, she's awesome.
Yes. One
of my best performing episodes, period. But she's raw, man. She's vulnerable. She puts it out there. And now I'm training her how to produce her own show. So that's pretty exciting stuff. Yeah. But Tiffany got us connected. We talked a couple of weeks ago for a solid hour.
Yeah.
And here you are, man.
In the flesh.
Dude, I'm so stoked to have you. Real quick, Thomas, what does life look like for you today? Just where you're at, emotionally, spiritually, all those things. We'll gather that first.
Man, I'm blessed beyond measure, more than I deserve. Got a loving wife. I got 3 healthy children, 2 adults. 2 of them are adults, and 1 is married. Shout out to the fam, my wife and my 3 kids. We are good. I can't ask for more. You know, We're blessed to be where we are here in Middle Tennessee. Made the great escape from California, and I do some really important work. Not easy at all. It's very hard work.
Sounds tough.
You know, I talk about the mental, emotional beatdowns that we endure in doing homeless ministry, but I wouldn't be there if it wasn't part of my purpose here to be of service to other people.
Yeah.
In this capacity, I didn't think that I was qualified to be where I am today, but I have the tools that are necessary to be successful in this mission. But the blood, sweat, and tears are very literal and real. But you got to be called to do this work. You got to be crazy, sometimes a little of both. I think I'm more in the middle. Yeah. I'm crazy enough to sign up for it, but I'm also called to do this work. And it's a blessing to be of service. You know, I did it in the military, and, you know, being in the Navy, there's the acronym, never again volunteer yourself. But here I am volunteering. But life is great. We are very blessed and fortunate to be where we are today.
Yeah. I mean, some of the key things you hit on too is like you're walking out faith, you know, but you're also, there's that mental and emotional load that I'm sure we're going to dive into a little bit later. But being of service, I mean, those are some big some critical points in your life that you're facing, so I think it's really cool what you do. And just for the audience, what does the Nashville Rescue Mission do specifically?
We are housing folks experiencing homelessness in Nashville. People come from around the country they're just kind of navigating through, and they found that there's a place in Nashville that's one of the top homeless shelters in America. But on my side of things, in my department, we are best we can. We are managing the chaos, and we're meeting people coming straight off the streets. My team operates primarily as the security and also hospitality. So we have to make sure that people aren't bringing in items that are not allowed in the building, including drugs, weapons, paraphernalia. There's a gambit of items that are prohibited because we have to think about safety first.
Yeah.
Not only for the people that are staying at the mission, but for our staff. And then we point them to the resources that are available. We want to make sure they have shelter from the elements outside the mission, and give them their, supply them with their basic needs, a bed to sleep in, clothing if they need. They're getting three meals a day. Our case management team is connecting them with outside resources, which are included mental health, disability, housing, helping guys get jobs. So one of my goals is to be, fall into my role as the excuse eliminator.
Yeah.
I don't care for excuses, and I made a lot in my life, but I've also overcome a lot of the excuses that I made and just said, you know what the hell, I'm going to go for it, and just get on the track and keep moving forward. So I get to encourage guys in that, like, if God rose me up out of my slumber, he could do the same for you.
Yeah,
just got to sign up.
So it sounds extremely purposeful, and it sounds like there's a lot of gratitude in your life too. Do you feel like everything's aligned, or there's still some things you maybe wrestle with internally?
So I kind of prepare myself mentally before I come into work. I'm not better than anybody inside the building or outside the building. So my approach is going to be humility first, because I can be in that same position as some of these guys are, or even worse. I could be on the streets, or I could be out there, on drugs.
Yeah.
Just strung out, So when I look around, I'm like, thank God I'm not like that.
Yeah.
But the only reason why you should look down on another person is if you're extending a hand to lift them up. So that's important for me to stay grounded in that when I come to work. I don't look around like, hey, I'm the guy that's in charge and you need to just do whatever I say. When I'm with my team, I'm the overseer, and they look at me and I'm like, hey, I'm just one of the guys. I'm just one of the guys on the team. There's nothing that's beneath me. We're all here trying to serve the same purpose. So it's good to have a humble approach, because, there's been times where I've been humble and it's not comfortable. It's not fun.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's necessary to be humble.
Oh, trust me. This last year for me has been all about humility.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm grateful for it.
Yeah. So it's a lot easier to choose to humble yourself versus being humble, because being humbled is stripped down bare, and you don't want everybody looking at your goods while you're naked in front of the whole mass. But it's just easier to say, you know what, I'm not all that. I'm just here for a reason, and I'm going to do what God made me to do.
Perfect way to put it. Where do you think in life you feel the most stretched right now?
100% my job.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Demands a lot.
Gosh. It's not just dealing with homeless folks. It's dealing with, and managing a staff of people. Sometimes it's like, do you know what you signed up for?
Mm.
Or what kind of reality do you live in? Because personal responsibility as an adult is you show up when you're supposed to show up.
Yeah.
And you do your job. All the extra stuff you're doing is not working out for us.
Yeah.
So you gotta ask yourself, like, are you here for the right reasons?
Are you serious?
And that's what makes it challenging. But also on the side of folks going through their addictions and experiencing homelessness is that there are times where you're going to get your heart broken. You know,
Yeah.
people die.
Yeah.
You know, and a lot of times they're dying by them, just choosing a lifestyle.
Yeah.
And any given day, someone might come in and say, hey, so-and-so died. He overdosed or somebody killed him. It's like, I'm not in this bubble that a lot of people in this country are in. The bubble is that I know what's out there, but I've never experienced it.
Yeah.
So I'm pretty fortunate that I get this chaotic environment where I work, but then I go to my house where there's no crime and it's quiet.
It's peace.
And I got my people there, and it's good to have that balance because that's what keeps me grounded.
It teaches you not to take it for granted too.
Exactly.
Big time.
Exactly.
What would you say is the one place you feel most grateful?
I don't know. When I think about God and His providence, I believe that for who I am and what I come from, I believe that my life is better than I deserve. I don't take that lightly. I could have been worse, much worse, just a product of my environment. And to be able to overcome what I've dealt with in my lifetime from childhood and to be where I am today, it's only what the Lord did for me.
Yeah.
That I was able to have a chance to be where I am today. And I used to sell myself short. I didn't think I was capable enough. Didn't have much belief in myself. Like literal zero confidence.
Yeah.
I had nothing. I couldn't think of any gifts or talents that I had that I could offer to the world. But then when I began to discover that I am capable, I do have gifts and talents that were God-given, and I've embraced those things, and I'm able to make an impact in the world. And that's just being me.
Beautiful. Love it. Thanks for that. So now, you've brought up the childhood aspect a lot. So let's take it back there. Let's take it back to the beginning of the journey before, the military, before you found purpose. Let's take it back to childhood a little bit and just talk about that and talk about how that shaped your worldview and everything. And is whatever depth you want to go.
I mean, I believe that a person's backstory is vital to you knowing exactly who you're dealing with.
Mm-hmm.
That's part of the power of that person's personal testimony is to see where they came from.
Yeah.
Sometimes before you find out where somebody's going, you got to know where they came from.
Yeah.
And I try to do that a lot of times when I'm meeting new people. I want to know a little bit of their history so I know what I'm working with.
Yeah.
I grew up, I was born to a 16-year-old kid. My dad was probably a few years older, but life was hard for us financially. And I'm a product. I'm an 80s kid. I grew up in the 80s, and to this day, I love the 80s. I loved 80s music. I love 80s TV, 80s films.
One of the best eras.
One of the best eras.
Yeah, it's killer.
Hands down. And I greatly appreciated growing up in that era. But then there was the part of me that just didn't have belief. Embarrassing to be a student in class where you're kind of just trying to hide from everyone. You know, every time I was in the class, I sat in the back of the room, back corner, hoping that no one would see me. You know, I wanted to be invisible. And so bad that if the teacher is doing roll call, calling everybody's names, I didn't even want to say I was here because I didn't want anybody to look at me.
Yeah.
And if I had to come up to the front of the class, back then we did current events. So someone had to come to the class, into the front of the class and read something that was happening in the news. I would shake. My voice would tremble, crack, because I was not comfortable.
Dang.
It was so bad at one time I had to go to the bathroom, and I was afraid to ask to go to the bathroom. And I wet my pants right there in front of the class.
Dang. So yeah, that's pretty severe.
Yeah, it was paralyzing. That's how bad it was. But my mom, I think she did the best she could with the tools she had, or lack of tools there, you know. But I appreciated my childhood. I didn't have a lot of friends, but I think the thing that has helped me today is that I was an observer.
Yeah.
I got to know people before I got to know people, if you can understand that.
100%.
Because I just watched people, and I learned a whole lot about human behavior, not knowing that would benefit me decades down the line.
Yeah.
You know, just watching people. Okay. And then finding out years later that we're really not that different.
Yeah.
We're really not. Like, I work in a homeless shelter, 400 plus guys that I have encounters with, and it's the same stuff, the same lingo. Guys are broken records. They speak the same language. Someone gets in trouble, I know how the response is going to be. And it's like when you're dealing with little kids.
Yeah.
It's like the whole the thing with the cookie jar analogy. Don't put your hands in the cookie jar.
Yeah.
You haven't had dinner. I don't want you to spoil your appetite. So the cookie jar stays the way it is. You don't go there.
Yeah.
But when no one's looking, what happens? Someone's hand goes in the cookie jar.
Yeah.
They get caught. They don't know they got caught. But you ask them, why did you go in the cookie jar?
Yeah.
As if you're going to get a surprising answer. You know what the answer is going to be? I don't know.
Yeah.
But that's not the answer. You already know what the answer is. You went in the cookie jar because you wanted that cookie.
Yeah.
You did it because you wanted to. And that's human behavior. We do things, good or bad, because we want to.
Yep.
And when someone chooses to throw their life away, to give in to their addictions, they become a slave.
Yeah.
You're a slave to your addiction because you can't say no. You did it because you wanted to.
Mm.
Your desire to do was greater than your desire not to do.
Yeah. Everything comes down to choice. You know, I think about when I got hooked on pills before I went in the military. You know, I never really thought about messing with that stuff. You know, I was in high school. I'd drink some beers, you know, after a football game, or, you know, we'd go to my house, or, you know, dabble with some pot. But it was nothing crazy. It was typical behavior, you know. And then I had some crazy changes going into college. I left the college, and I felt a lot of disappointment in myself, and went to this other college. Long story short, I mean, got introduced to pills, and I was having a lot of internal struggles at the time because of, you know, basically just dropping out of that first school I was going to. Not to go too in-depth into it. I've done it a million times, but long story short, I found that was just an escape. I chose to take those pills as an escape, and then I allowed it to consume me. It didn't seek me out. I chose to do so. And, you know, a year later, I had to own that. Be like, I hate you. This is not who you are. I chose to walk away from that person that I saw in the mirror. It all comes down to choice.
Yeah.
Now, the further you go, the harder it can be to escape. It can be a black hole.
Right.
You can come out of the other side.
Yeah. And that is the thing. You know, I worked with guys that are struggling with addiction, alcoholism. And the thing that is known, but probably not talked about as much, is that that's what it is. It's an escape from your reality.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to feel anymore because those feelings are hurtful. They bring harm to you. They point out the disappointments of life. So
turn it off.
Just kind of go into a alternate reality, so you don't have to deal with real life.
Yep.
And that's compounded trauma that's unaddressed, and people don't want to deal with trauma, so they mask it and do things that make them not feel anymore.
Yep.
And the type of kid I was growing up, I still find it hard to believe that I never got bullied. You know, it's usually those types of kids that get bullied.
You're almost so quiet that like even the bullies just didn't.
And I joke about it, but like, you know, maybe kids intuitively knew something about me that I didn't know at the time. Like maybe I'm a dangerous guy and it's just never knew.
Yeah.
You know, and it's funny, like, you know, I'm kind of the judge and jury at my job because I deal with a lot of the behavioral stuff with guys getting in trouble, and this, like, you got the hammer on your shoulder and people see the hammer. It's like, don't make me drop the hammer.
Yeah.
And I'm a nice guy, but
I know I'm trying to picture you in that role, like really dropping the hammer on somebody.
But there's guys that see me and they're like, there's something about that guy. Like, I don't think I want to play, because if someone is getting aggressive and I take a step towards them and I say, we're not doing that here.
Yeah.
And they look at me like, what a weird response. Someone can be that quiet and that stern and calm.
You do have a very level demeanor in a great way.
Mm-hmm.
Like, because speaking to you, I can feel your emotions. So like I can feel when you're I'm sorry, I am analyzing you, but like when you're like really expressing gratitude or even like dropping the hammer on somebody in a serious moment, it's like at first take for somebody, it's hard to differentiate.
Yeah.
But like I can feel that emotion, right? And I can feel like your gratitude and love and that joy, but I can also feel where, you know, maybe those situations where you have to really lay it down on somebody can be a pretty heavy thing. I think it's a really cool trait of yours, actually. You're just very calm and level. And, you know, you often hear like, hey, man, the guy that's level-headed is the quiet one's the one you don't want to mess with. I mean, that is it. That saying's there for a reason.
Yeah.
You know, it's usually the loud people that can't back it up.
Well, it's like some of those guys I deal with, like, you know, I've already sized you up. I already pointed out all the weak spots. You know, I don't have to prove how tough I am, but I have to tell myself in my mind and my heart that I'm the toughest guy in this building and outside the building, but I don't have to prove that. So I walk around like I belong here.
So you're like John Wick, pretty much.
Without the violence.
Yeah, without the violence.
Maybe it's in my head.
Yeah.
But I haven't acted out on it yet.
No, please don't. I mean, make sure I'm not around.
No, God has definitely kept me grounded, and I believe there's a monster in every one of us.
Yeah.
But that monster is way down at the bottom of the abyss, and he's chained up, and I haven't found reason to release him.
You're able to handle and dissolve situations by just like by how you are.
Hey, my mindset is de-escalate. You know, someone's agitated, someone's, you know, sir, you're on floor 33. I'm on floor 3. I'm going to need you to come down to my floor so we can try to work something out. Because I'm not coming up there. Money on that. I'm not coming up there.
Yeah.
But I have to let you know that this is not going to be tolerated, but I need you to come down here so I can see how we can come to a positive resolution.
For sure, for sure. What do you think? Could you maybe describe what played a part in like just to being how you were as a kid? Do you think there's what maybe influenced that you being, that way? I don't know. I don't want to put it that
What
way.
influenced
You being more quiet and stuff and reserved.
I couldn't tell you, man.
Really?
From the very beginning, people, including other relatives, would even ask my mom, "How come your boy doesn't talk?" And she would look at me, ask him, and I just shrugged my shoulders. We're walking around out in the streets, and she sees someone that goes to my school. "Hey, doesn't that kid go to your school?" And I'm hiding behind her. Like, I didn't want to deal with people.
Yeah.
I loved and I cared about people. I had my brothers that were my best friends and really didn't have friends outside of that. And that was all the way through school, from kindergarten all the way to high school. It was like a struggle. And I think the biggest thing was it was an identity struggle for me. I didn't know who I was. I didn't know what group I belonged in. I had to learn to kind of be a chameleon.
That's interesting too. So you didn't feel like you had like any identity.
Right.
Yeah. So it's interesting hearing you say this. So what obviously hit anything else very significant from that time frame, if you'd like, but what led you into choosing to go into the Navy? Like why did you choose to go in the military of all things?
Yeah, Joe. I'm not going to try to make something up fancy, but I came to the end of myself.
Like in high school?
No, after high school, I had what I call my blackout years from 18 to 21. I graduated, I was 18, which means I'm an adult. I'm grown. Peace. I'm out of here. Moved out, got an apartment with one of my brothers and some friends, and it went all bad. When your parents try to tell you things that are not good for you because they know better, and you think you know better,
yeah,
but you're not old enough to know better because that part of your brain doesn't fully develop till you're like 26, 18. I knew all the answers, but I didn't. So I moved out, and next thing you know, there's like bills that have to be paid, and then not everybody's working. And I find myself, why am I the only one going to work while everybody else is hanging out, having a good time?
So you're paying, yeah.
I want to have a good time too.
Yeah.
So I ended up going to my job and said, I don't want to work here anymore. And I left. And we got evicted.
Yeah.
And that happened twice. And age of 21, I went back to my old high school to do security. And it was a dumb job.
Really?
It was like, if you show up, cool. If you don't, that's cool too. If you show up late, you can cheat the book, the sign-in book. And I just found myself like just really having I'm grateful to God because I believe that he gave me this glimpse of the future. And I saw a picture of the next 5 years and it didn't look good. And that scared me. I'm like, are you going to just be a loser for the rest of your life?
Yeah.
Or are you going to do something about it? And I was like, something needs to give here. And they had these military recruiters on campus. And I remember before I graduated high school, my dad said, you know what? You should think about joining the Army. And I said, I got a better idea. How about you join the Army? And my best friend at the time, his dad was a Marine, lifetime Marine, and I entertained the idea. I was like, we should go in the Marines together, like do the buddy thing, because I was like contemplating doing something different, but I didn't want to do it by myself. And when he chickened out and didn't do it, I was like, I'm definitely not going to the Marines by myself.
Yeah.
So one day I'm walking home because I didn't have a car because I was in loserdom. 21 years old, didn't have a car. And I'm walking home, and then this government car pulls up, and I looked over, and the guy says, "Hey, buddy, you need a ride?" It was a Navy guy. And it was like, you know, when that light bulb goes off the top of your head, I was like, I know what I'm doing now.
You just knew.
I just knew.
It was at this like moment of just, you're just basically just hollow. You don't have any direction. There's no discipline or anything. You're like, what is life? Yeah, you're just walking through life, you know?
Right. I was just kind of floating around, and I knew I'm not stupid. I knew we weren't going. He's not going to just take me home. I knew there was going to be a detour.
We got to stop at the office.
But I embraced the opportunity because I said, this is the time to take action. And I believe that there's one decision that you make in life that will change the course of the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the day. Because when we made that detour to the recruiter's office, and I'm looking at pamphlets and I'm watching videos, I said, you know what? I'm not going to talk to anybody else about this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to tell my family. I'm not going to talk to any of my friends because I didn't want anybody to talk me out of my decision.
Yeah.
So I made 100% independent decision.
Right there on the spot.
Yep.
Man, I love that.
Yep.
That has me reflecting. I told you kind of like where I was at when I pointed that mirror. And that was a real situation. I remember looking at myself that day. I looked like crap. Here I was, this athlete, you know, and I go back to my hometown a couple hours away and go to parties, but I'd be all pilled out and acting stupid, like just sloppy. And there was moments I'd reflect on that. I'm like, ugh, you know, like I was embarrassed of myself, you know? And I had that morning where I woke up and I just had that moment in the mirror. And that's the first thing I did. I went into my room, my dorm room. I called my best friend at the time because he was going to the community college in my town. And we get together on the weekends, just do that stuff, eat, whatever, ride around back roads. And I was like, dude, I'm going to the military. I'm going to go to a recruiter. He said, I'm going to join you. So we asked a couple SRO officer and stuff like that. We ended up going to Air Force recruiter and being like, let's do this. And it just worked out beautifully. And, you know, he's still in. He's back in Hawaii for like his second time. And, you know, he's having a pretty cool career. But, you know, it was just it's just like I knew, you know, like I had no direction. And you talk about that turning point, that choice you make that changes the whole trajectory.
Yeah.
Because, man, I was going all out with the pills. Like I was scrounging for change. I was running stuff around for my dealer. I was doing some sketchy stuff because I was desperate to get that. Like I couldn't go without it at that point. And I knew right there, like that was the biggest shift.
Yeah.
That changed everything. So
and I could tell you why I said what I said about one decision. Before I get to that, when I'm at work, I get to say whatever I want to say to guys because of my experience. Because I could say I've been there.
Yeah.
I know what it's like to just not have purpose, to kind of feel like you're wasting away. Like, why am I even here? You know, and I used to ask myself, I was never like suicide or anything, but I used to think to myself, if I didn't wake up tomorrow, would anybody even care? Would I even be missed? I used to think that because I was like, I got nothing to give.
Yeah.
But by making that decision, a series of events led to some super positive, life-changing events. One, I met my wife through the process, which eventually led to me being born again, becoming a believer in Christ. And just having a whole different outlook of life and purpose. I don't know if any of that would have happened if I didn't decide to do what I did, because I believe that God honored my decision, saying, you're at a crossroads.
Yeah.
I'm presenting you an opportunity. You can take it or leave it. And prior to that, opportunities were presented, and I just looked at them like, That's for somebody else.
I feel you.
It's not for me. But it was also, coupled with that was fear.
Yeah.
Fear of change, fear of what people would think,
fear
of failure. That was how I lived life, in fear. And then sometimes it's like, even though you don't want to take your hands from under your butt because you're sitting on your hands, you got to snatch your hands out and say, here I am, pick me.
Yes.
And I made a bold decision. Like, I graduated high school. Probably shouldn't have. It's like when the elevator doors are closing and you kind of turn sideways and you jump right in before the doors close. That was graduation for me. I didn't think I deserved to walk across the stage or the field. But when I did something that I sought out, and I did it without anyone's approval or input,
Yes.
I joined the military. I stood up there, I raised my hand, I took the oath, and I completed that task, which was graduating boot camp. And for the first time in my life, I was proud.
Yeah. Hell yeah, man. I feel that. You found purpose. You found, identity. Your whole identity recalibrated.
Yeah.
Thanks for sharing that. And I relate to that wholeheartedly. Just sharing what I did, man.
Yeah.
That my circumstances were different. My parents had me set up to go to college for 4 years, not have to pay a dime. Man, I felt so much torment because I was like, dude, I am taking advantage of them. Man, it killed me. But I was just there's that pressure of what should I do? What should I do? I got to have it figured out, got to have it figured out. And I don't have nothing figured out. I don't know what the hell I want to be. And, and joining the military and making that choice, man, that was the first time I felt absolutely proud of myself because I chose it. It wasn't given to me.
Right.
I chose to go there and be like, hey, thank y'all for everything you've done, but I've got to make this decision moving forward. And I got to be a freaking man,
Yeah.
I want to be a man. I don't want to, I don't want to depend on anybody else.
I think it's important that kids know that you don't have to have it all figured out right away.
No, I'm not kicking my daughter's 2.5, but I'm not going to kick her out of the house when she's 18. I don't expect, I didn't figure it out till way down the road. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
I don't expect that her to have figured out, man. A lot of people never figure it out.
It's not the blueprint.
Yeah.
To say you're 18, you need to go. Why?
What, because they can vote now?
But why?
Yeah.
Most of them are not ready. They're not ready to do real life. You're setting them up. That's what you're doing. Wait till they're ready.
Yeah.
My son-in-law's family, all the kids, they live in the house till they're adults, till they're ready to go. It's not a bad thing.
Yeah.
Why would I feed my kids to the wolves when I know that they're not ready for the wolves?
Yeah.
You send them off across the country to a university where they're gonna see everything that's out there. Why would you want to do that?
Yeah.
It's not necessary.
It isn't.
But there's going to be some kids that are ready for that. But, people like to say, oh, they got to experience life, the good and the bad. But not intentionally.
They're going to, regardless.
Exactly. But take your time in building into them and raising them up to be good citizens in the world.
Be intentional.
Yeah.
So the Jedi mind trick.
You want to go into?
Yeah, go for it. Yeah, I want to go into. I want to hear about this.
It's multi-layered Jedi mind trick thing I learned to develop. First time was that I can remember was doing it on myself. I didn't. Well, you mentioned it earlier in the beginning that I was on submarines. So when I decided to go to the Navy, I didn't know what I wanted to do. I I really didn't know what I wanted to do with life. And that's a lot of people that join the military. They don't know what to do. And then it was like, okay, you're going into the Navy. What do you want to do? I don't know. Like,
I'm here, just throw me in it.
Look at these different jobs. I'm like, I have no idea. Like, I could not make a decision. And I said, the one thing I'm not going to do is the Navy SEALs, because you have to have a lot of screws loose in your brain to even entertain that idea. But for some reason, I think out of desperation, not at the Navy SEAL level, but submarines was an option. I think I'll try that. Why? Why would you do that? I'm like, I don't know. I just want to go, and I want to do something that's a little radical.
Yeah, submarine. Yeah.
Right. And that was like not really knowing much about submarines, but I said yes. And then it was like, okay, what do you want to do on subs? I was like, I don't know. So I went in there and undesignated. So I didn't have a job. So the Seaman subfare program allows you the opportunity to go on the subs and kind of look around, try out different departments, and then you make a decision on what you want to do. So I did that. And you're brand new to the ship. You're going to be in the kitchen busting suds with the cooks. So I did that. And by default, I said, you know what? I think I might as well just stay where I am because I'm already in the kitchen, so I'll be a cook. Try that for a couple weeks or so, whatever. But that's a side note. But Jedi mind trick. So when you're on a submarine, surprisingly, not everybody knows that there's no windows on a submarine.
You don't say.
Yeah. And I'm super glad there are no windows on submarines because I learned that there's monsters under the sea, like deep sea. There's giant creatures, like alien type creatures underwater, deep underwater. I don't need to see that. So if I was to see that and I'm underwater, I'd be like, get me off this damn thing.
Yeah, like I am trapped.
Right.
Is there any experience? Well, we'll do the Jedi mind trick.
Yes.
Yeah.
So that was kind of a segue into it. Okay. So there's no windows on subs, and you have to drive. New people have to drive the submarine, which is a whole nother element of mental challenges. Like, I don't get to see where I'm going, blah, 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 but I'm driving this big hunk of metal. So I did a 6-month deployment. We went overseas, Japan, Hong Kong, Guam. My home base was Hawaii, Pearl Harbor, Hawaii. Nice. But when you go out and you know that you're going to miss out on some sun and moon action for a period of time. Mm-hmm. It could be days, it could be weeks, sometimes longer, depends on what's going on. So it's like, naturally your mind goes to, man, I wonder what the sun is doing today.
Yeah.
What's the moon doing tonight? Because I'm not seeing what they're up to. So the Jedi mind trick was, how do I trick my brain into believing that the sun and the moon don't exist for a period of time? I can't say how I mastered it, and I would assume that other submarine guys have found a way, because psychologically, if you long for something for so long that you know you can't obtain, it will do a number on you. Mm. There was one time where I had this kind of out-of-body experience where I was studying for an exam, because when you're on subs, you have to become qualified in submarines, and you get your Silver Dolphin submarine warfare insignia. Yeah. So I had to do this study, and I had to finish, and I was up for like 30-something hours. Coffee wasn't doing anything. I'm trapped on this hunk of metal, and I'm missing out on the sun and the moon action. And I had this out-of-body experience where I was like, I could see myself, the part of me that I was afraid of, Remember I talked about the monster down at the bottom of the abyss?
Yeah.
I got my first glimpse of the monster, and I was like, I don't ever want to see that guy. Scary. So eventually I got over it because I had to trick myself into believing that those things that were put out there for us to enjoy didn't exist in order to survive. So focusing on the task at hand, everything I had in front of me, and just keeping my mind occupied enough where I just didn't focus on those things.
Yeah. Like basically just getting hyper zoned in.
Yeah. Yeah.
To where everything external was just like, not even real.
Yeah.
Because I could see where, man, I'm like trying to put myself in a submarine right now. And I'm thinking about like, you're just in this hunk of metal, dude. And you're in like the great ocean. Like it's endless, right?
Mm-hmm.
That's a crazy experience.
Yeah. So when we left our home port to go on our deployment, we stopped a couple miles off the coast of Maui, and it said swim call. Swim call means you can go up topside and you can jump in the ocean to swim.
Yeah.
And I don't know, it's just because of just being a black man and afraid of the ocean. It's not so much the ocean itself, it's what's in the ocean that I can't see. Yeah. And I was like, hard pass. I'm not jumping in that water because there's these things called sharks that have fins and teeth and stuff. I was like, nah, I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
But after being gone for so long and being cooped up on the sub on the way back, we did the same thing. We stopped. And I said, get me off this thing. And I jumped in. We had a topside watch guy with a rifle, right? He was shark watch. And I say, if you see a shark, shoot me first.
Just whatever you do, don't let it get me.
Yes, exactly.
That's funny. And you face it, that was something you feared. So you just like screw it, jumped in.
Yeah. And then the flip side of the Jedi mind trick was I can use this on other people.
Yeah.
And there's a little bit of fun and sarcasm in that for me. Because, you meet people that are testy, people that want to really insult your intelligence. And I don't take lightly to that. When you're trying to insult my intelligence, I will make a fool out of you.
Yeah.
I've had guys like, they're threatening me. They're going to get their lawyer, blah, blah, blah. And they want to make me feel like I'm doing something wrong. I'm like, go get your lawyer. Like, I dare you. There was one, we've had instances at the mission where guys will pull out their cell phone and start filming you, trying to bait you, get you to say the wrong thing. I remember one guy, he's like, tell me why I have to leave. Why are you guys kicking me out, blah, blah, blah. And he's got the camera right in my face. And I said, this is Jedi mind trick time. He's asking me questions, just trying to bait me. And I was like, I just looked away and I didn't say a word. And he kept going for like a minute and he finally stopped. And I said, how did that work out for you? I said, don't you feel silly that you spoke by yourself for like a whole minute with no response from me? I was like, you got to feel a little bit foolish now.
It reminds me of the dude. It's funny because it reminds me of this guy. He's at some kind of festival or something. And the guy walks up and he's like, what do you think of this and this? He's like, I don't know, man. I just got here. And I was like, it was some like really obvious question, but that was his answer. And I was like, man, if I ever get run up on with a camera, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah. And unfortunately we live in a world today where everybody's hyper reactionary.
Oh yeah.
Emotions are out front. And I always say that our emotions are horrible masters.
Mm-hmm.
If you lead with your emotions, it's going to be a bad day for you. It's going to be a bad day for everybody else.
Yeah.
And I've seen it in action so many times. So I have to learn to teach myself to pause. Like stop, let things run through my mental filter because I have to think, because our brains are crazy, right?
Yeah.
Our brains think of stuff like, where did that come from? Like, I couldn't conjure up something in my mind, but it does it automatically.
Yeah.
And I have to be able to run it through a filter and say, if I act on what I'm thinking right now, or if I say what I'm thinking right now, what are the ramifications? Like, how will this negatively affect the situation? But if I say, you know what, I can't do that, or I can't say that, because it's only going to further escalate the situation. So sometimes things are left best unsaid.
Yeah. Oh yeah, 100%. I mean, trust me, I wanted to get some final words in to some people.
Mm-hmm.
And my wife she's such a blessing, because she'd be like, Joe, just don't say anything. And I'm like, but they need to know how I feel about this.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I could say all these things, and I'm really good with my words. Like, my written content and stuff is, I crush it. And I'm like, I could just destroy them. And she's like, well, you're no better than them then. And I'm like, God, it takes everything. And reflecting on it, that's that 8-year-old boy wanting to protect himself.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So it goes much deeper than that. And typically when we want to react, that stems from somewhere, a lot of times. But it's also helped me train, like, gaining that emotional regulation or stability, right? And I think that's such a powerful thing. It's good to feel your shit, but you don't have to express it all outwardly all the time, right? Feel it, but learn how to, like, channel it in the right direction. And I've had, even recently, I discovered, really deep into some prayer, I was like, man, I still hold a lot of resentment. I'm still trying to work through that. But what I realized is that I'm really good at, like, understanding the situation and the emotions behind it, and articulating it to that level. Yeah. But I do that way before I actually feel it through. Does that make sense? So that what typically would become way after, like, I feel it, and then I understand it and break it all down. I do it on the flip side. So that's also caused, like, a delayed response in my, like, that regulation there. So I'm trying to, the self-awareness is the key.
Oh, absolutely.
And then you take action towards that. Like, I'm glad I understand that. Now I got to work to progress there. But.
Yeah. And looking at the words of the Bible, like, I always say that the gospel is offensive to us because it goes against the grain. It goes against everything that our human desires say, which is, it's all about me. It's about being selfish. So naturally, if you're in an argument or a debate with someone, you want to win, right?
Yeah.
I'm going to crush this guy, and even if you have the capabilities to do so, like, I know if I was an assassin, my best weapon would be sarcasm. I've destroyed people with my sarcasm, and I'm like, that's super mean. I'm not that guy. But there's that part of me, which is in my human nature, is kill him.
Yeah. Take him out.
Kill him. Like, because I know I can.
Yeah.
Because, the Bible also says that the tongue has the power to kill and destroy. You can murder someone with your words. Because if you think about, like, the days of slavery, slave masters had power over the slaves, usually with words. Yeah. And it was very demeaning. It was like, you'll never be anything. Like, if you have a kid and that's all they heard every day is you suck, you'll never be anything, you're ugly. Over time, you're going to believe those lies.
Not to interrupt, but it reminds me, I did EVOX therapy to go back to the 8-year-old situation, right? And really dive into that. And my friend Hannah that facilitates that, she had a client that their thing was, they didn't realize, but it was able to take them back to where, well, they were the middle child. Their mom called them the most difficult one. They were the difficult child. But that, like, the word just being called a difficult child, you think it's innocent. But that really ingrained in them something so simple. And you bringing up the Bible brings me to another book called, have you read The 4 Agreements?
I've heard of it.
Really good book. Don't take things personally. God, I don't know why it slips. Don't take things personally is one of them. But one of them is be impeccable with your word. And it talks about specifically just pages and pages of how powerful your word is and what you put out there. And it could be used in such a beautiful way, or it can be used to simply just destroy.
Yeah. Because, like, some of the guys I work with, they can tense up because someone is calling them every name but a child of God.
Yeah.
They say, and it's like they're offended. This guy just said that to me, like, but you gotta say time out. Like, think about where this is coming from. Think about the place this is coming from. This is coming from someone that's trapped within themselves. They've been stuck. They've been in limbo. They've been in like the movie Get Out. They've been in the what do they call it? Forget what they call it, but it's like this black place where they're just floating. And they
The void.
The void.
Yeah.
They are there because they are super disappointed, defeated because of life choices. They've been alienated from their family and their friends. They got nobody. They got no place. And when someone lashes out at you, why do you take that personally?
Yeah.
You haven't done any harm to this person.
Their words. Oh, go ahead.
You are taking offense to it.
Yeah.
So I have to come in with that approach, like, this is not personal. I have not done wrong to this person. So it's like sometimes I will stand there and take an emotional lashing because this person may need to just vent. And I sit there and I listen to them vent. And then they're relieved because someone allowed them the space to vent.
You know, and you can look at them with compassion.
Mm-hmm.
Because you realize in their words, if you just pay attention, they're just reflecting, they're just saying what they feel about themselves most of the time in just another way, and directing at you. It's typically to hurt people.
Yep.
And that's a fact.
It's a fact.
Yeah. Like, you know, put something powerful on Facebook, or I had a clip of my wife talking about being domestic abuse in her past relationship, and it got like 1 million views on Facebook, and people were like, she probably deserved it, and and like we're saying these things, and I'm like typing up my address to my building, like, let's talk about that. You know, like she's like, Joe, what do you expect? You know, and I realized, like, man, people that are willing to go out of their way to say something like that towards somebody that's been beaten up, a woman, you know, it's like, yeah, you got to look at it, man, I feel sorry for you. What's going on with you? Because I would never take, even if I disagreed with something and I didn't like it, I'm not going to take my time to go say something ugly. Because what good is it going to do?
Yeah, and there's plenty of times I'm like, someone says something offensive, you know, and I'm like, I want to fight.
Yeah.
I really want to fight, and I know I'm going to win, but I'm like, just don't say anything. And my wife tries to check me all the time on that. Like, why do you even entertain that? Like, because I want to fight.
Yeah.
Like, let's go.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of like that, you know, we got that warrior mindset too. Like, it's kind of ingrained in us. You know? And so but that's only should be used when necessary.
Yeah. Right. And I always say that I will go to jail for the right reason. I've never had handcuffs on these wrists, never been detained.
Same, fortunately.
Yeah. And I'm intentional about that. I'm not trying to go to jail. I get in trouble with the law for anything. But I think in the right situations, sometimes there's situations that make calls for righteous anger.
Yes.
Which would mean someone trying to bring harm to one of my loved ones.
Messing with a child.
Yeah. I will go to jail for the right reasons. Like, we can figure it out from there. But there's just some things that just should not be tolerated. Yeah.
You got to take action for righteous reasons. I mean, I told my wife the same thing. Like, I saw someone messing with a kid, best believe they're getting beat to hell.
I mean, the monster down at the bottom of the abyss will get the locks taken off.
Yeah. Yep. And that's completely understandable. But most of the time it's unnecessary, especially when it comes down to someone's words.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you know what I do every day, there's no reason for me to try to prove how tough I am. Like, I can usually diffuse people that are very agitated. I do consider myself a master de-escalator because of my approach. Yeah. I want to find a positive solution to what's, so just trying to find out what the need is. And guys in their state of mental health and homelessness and addiction, I mean, most of the time they're going to be truthful about their situation. And I know that they're just frustrated and disappointed in themselves. So I'm like, I'm going to be patient with them, but I'm also going to tell them, like, I'm not here to play games because, like I said earlier, the game is life or death.
Yeah.
And I'm on the side of life, and I want them to see the world the way I see it and take into consideration what their struggles are. But I'm going to be real with them. I'm going to be 100 and give them the truth.
This isn't just a podcast. This is my life's work. In a world full of noise, debate, filters, and artificial content, this platform is real. It's raw. It's human. Every episode, we dive deep into stories that matter. Pain, purpose, transformation. We're here to give people a voice, speak truth, and connect through something deeper than algorithms. We've already reached over 20 million views across all platforms, with an audience that is loyal, engaged, and passionate about this show because it speaks to the soul. If your business or brand believes in authenticity, if you value marketing through something that reflects your values and aligns with real impact, then this is your opportunity. Sponsorship isn't just support, it's fuel. It's how I keep this mission alive. It's how I continue to shine light on powerful, untold stories that need to be heard. If you want to reach people, not just through metrics, but through their hearts, their minds, and purpose, let's partner. Let's build something that matters.